President Trump telling aides to prepare for an extended blockade of Iran as the White House seeks to maintain pressure on stalled negotiations. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Overnight, Central Command forces briefly detained a vessel in the Arabian Sea attempting to transit the Strait of Hormuz, violating the blockade. Meanwhile, major Gulf nations also rejecting Iranian control of the strait, meeting in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday to discuss Iran's retaliation. I want to bring in former Trump State Department senior advisor Christian Whiton. Christian, good morning to you. So much to go through. So this new report this morning finds that these Iranian-linked hackers are targeting U.S. troops in the region on top of the blockade. Your reaction to that?
Not a big surprise. Iran is a big cyber threat and of course, a kinetic threat, a terrorist threat. This is what they do. They're not great at one-on-one combat. They're great at creepy things like doing this. So not a surprise, a reminder that we have to harden up just about everything cyber-wise. We got a reminder of that with Anthropic this last week and their apparent, adeptness at cyber warfare, cyber attack. Thank God this is a U.S. corporation and not a foreign one. But, Iran has not realized, it's sort of like a chicken with its head cut off. The body is aware that there is something wrong, but hasn't quite conceded death yet. But the fact that we are willing and able and currently preventing any export of Iranian oil through the Strait, through the Arabian Gulf, we have them right where we want them.
All right, well, let's get into the oil story. We've got a couple of questions for you on that, because the UAE obviously is leaving OPEC and OPEC Plus on Friday. Yeah. The big oil market story, they announced that they're exiting OPEC and OPEC Plus. The UAE was OPEC's third largest oil producer in 2025. A lot of politics at play here. President Trump's been critical of OPEC throughout his terms, both terms. Does this weaken the alliance?
Sure it does. It's the UAE is a huge producer and sort of a sleeper ally in the sense that if you stopped an American on the street and said, who's the better ally, Britain or the United Arab Emirates, they're going to say Britain. But the UAE really doing things that are to the benefit of the United States. The Senate, the Congress has been looking at the so-called NOPEC bill. They've been trying to tear away at this cartel since the 1970s, if possible. Finally, it's being done. The fact is the UAE, once traffic resumes through the strait, wants to go to maximum output. They don't want to be constrained by others. Earlier, about 5 years ago, they started signaling their displeasure with OPEC Plus. They signaled that Saudi Arabia was no longer the dictator of OPEC, and they really are standing up. They're a smaller country than Saudi Arabia, but they're really standing up in their own right as a major power in the Gulf. And this is part of the huge transformation. People say New World Order too often, but there is a New World Order taking place, and it's the United States, the Arabian Gulf in the front, Europe down. UAE is number 2 when it comes to spare production capacity. That's one line. The editorial board of the Journal writes this: why the UAE broke up with OPEC. They say, what do you know? U.S. shale fracking has achieved Washington's longtime strategic goal of curbing OPEC. Basically, they say another foreign policy victory for American fossil fuel energy. I thought that was a great line. I've got Tiana Lodesher on set with me. She's got a question for you.
Yeah, I want to ask about this Kepler estimate that Iran will run out of its excess capacity for storing oil in the next 10 to 20 days. I keep on hearing there are lots of ongoing critics of President Trump's war saying, oh, the Iranians, because it's an existential battle, they will outlast President Trump's blockade no matter what. But it seems pretty definitive. If that storage capacity runs out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, what happens then? Is that game over, or could this thing extend even further?
Oh, I think it's a fundamentally important point you raise. If you just do the math, if you look at their exporting 1 million barrels per day, at least they were before the war, a lot of it illicit, so they were selling it at a little bit of a discount to London Brent. But, even if they were selling it at $50 a barrel, and of course the spot price is $100 now, if you take that from 1 million times that down to 0, what else does this country produce? Maybe some pistachios, but other than that, they mainly just export terrorism and jihad jihad, and the market on that is off too. So the pressure is on Iran very significantly. They can still show up. They can still talk a tough game. They can still call us the great Satan. Okay. But this is why Trump canceled the dispatch of Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff to Pakistan last week. And he said, why go? If they're not willing to concede, we're not asking them to give up their country or surrender unconditionally. We're asking them to give up enrichment of uranium, which they absolutely have no right to do, no need to do. Even if they want to keep running their electricity producing reactor, they can get the nuclear fuel from the Russians, and then the Russians will take the spent fuel off their hands. So again, just Trump really has them over a barrel.
Well, no, and Treasury Secretary Bessent going after Chinese banks. I mean, this is where sanctions can be a very powerful tool, and they're using that also against the Iranians. You cut off the money. I want to ask you about King Charles and his visit, because he's touting the strength of America's alliance with the UK. Of course, he addressed Congress yesterday. This is despite recent frustration between President Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer over his response to the Iran conflict. Watch this.
Today, we find ourselves in a new era, but those values remain. It is an era that is in many ways more volatile and more dangerous. The challenges we face are too great for any one nation to bear alone. But in this unpredictable environment, our alliance cannot rest on past achievements or assume that foundational principles simply endure. As my Prime Minister said last month, ours is an indispensable partnership. We must not disregard everything that has sustained us for the last 80 years. Instead, we must build on it.
Christian, what was your reaction to his address yesterday?
Well, the mainstream media has interpreted that as a soft critique of Trump. I think it should be seen as a soft or not soft critique of the King's First Minister, Keir Starmer, the pinko Prime Minister of Britain, who is crazy unpopular. In Britain right now, the ruling Labour Party is number 3. Up here is UK Reform. Number 2 is the traditional Conservative, the Tories. Labour down here. If there was an election today, as with France, as with Germany, and in the UK, these people would be voted out of power. And so, I like the King. He's eloquent. It was a great speech, very clever, a little bit political, but talking about the U.S. and Europe as pillars of civilization going forward, just not true. The future you are seeing in the Middle East is that the Middle East is growing in importance. It's not just a place for oil and energy. It's a place for capital. It's a place for culture, a place that's growing. Europe is dying. I hope Britain, and I think Britain can turn the corner, but the uncontrolled Muslim immigration, economic stagnation, these are the reasons that the government that rules in Charles's name is crazy unpopular. They're the ones who need to fix this, and they're the ones that need to fix NATO.
And many have said that is why the King has come to the United States. Christian Whiton, very well said. Great to see you on the program. Thank you for being here. We'll be right back, everybody.
Thanks so much.